Micah Frankel, CageMinds.com, and we're with Anthony Birchak. We got him live and in person, first time ever.
What's up, man?
Like 3 times interviewing you, and the first time we get to do it face to face. It feels weird actually looking at you to talk,
you,
right?
Not looking at like a screen or something else. Yeah, it's pretty. I'm glad I'm finally be out here though.
Good to see you've been working at Jackson's. What's it been like changing it up, adding this to the camp?
You know, it's been really refreshing. I think coming out here with Cub is one of the best things I could have done. You know, I'm riding whatever momentum he has going into the Frankie Edgar fight. You know, he's training really, really hard. You know, I'm training really, really hard. The energy that both of us have had, you know, in this camp is just amazing. You know, the welcoming committee that I had here at Jackson's, you know, between all the coaches was really cool. You know, it felt like I've been part of the team for a long time. And it's like, I'm a stranger. They have no reason to be as nice as they're being, but it's been cool, man. I'm super stoked about it.
Well, being a stranger, not really a stranger. We know you. Before Canada, you fought out here.
Yeah.
You were out here with Freddie before, so it's not like you were complete, you know.
No, and I understand that. You know what I mean? But like in Arizona, it's like the Wild West. Like you walk into a gym and everyone's like, you know, scheming on you and has like an ulterior motive. Here, it was like, oh, dude, what up? Like the first day I walked in, Matt Lava was here. You know what I mean? Gave me a big hug, and I thought that was just really cool. You know, so. I mean, stranger or not, it just was like really cool to get that kind of welcome.
And now the UFC debut, the second time it's scheduled. Dude. So gotta imagine, what was it like at 177 where they're like, you're not fighting Joe Soto anymore,
Man.
You're not fighting. What was the look on your face?
It was like, I was like talking to Sean Shelby, you know, and I was like waiting for him to say that they're gonna bring me up. So I'm like, you know what I mean? And I was like, dang, you know, I asked him, I said, hey, what is the basis on you choosing Joe Soto? You know, why didn't I get the bid? And he was like, you know, he's like, it's hard to say. Like, it was hard to even get, you know, him in with the CSAC as a replacement. And you know, it's athletic commission stuff. But long term, I looked at it, you know what I mean? Porterville, California, where Joe Soto's from, is an hour north of Sacramento. So who's going to put butts in seats? A kid from Tucson or a kid from an hour away? You know what I mean? So I literally lost a popularity contest from fighting for the Bantamweight World Championship, my UFC debut, and I don't know, I was heartbroken, man. I literally, in 28 years of existence, of crying because I could not fight, not because I got into a fight, because I could not fight. So it was like an emotional roller coaster.
So now, what's it like when you hear Ian Entwistle and at home in Arizona? So how great is that?
Dude, you know, like as soon as I heard Ian Entwistle, I was like, I know that name. I've seen it somewhere before, and I'm pretty well versed in anyone that's in my division. And I'm looking at 135, and I'm like, oh, he's not a 35 pounder. He's a 45er coming down. So, you know, I assume this giant mountain of a man like, you know, Donald Sanchez or Leonard Garcia, you know, Cub Swanson, and this guy's like itty bitty, like 5'2", 5'4", and he's saying about how I'm so tiny and itty bitty, and he's seen more meat on a butcher's knife, which I thought was hilarious. But you know, to get that fight at home in Phoenix is I couldn't have asked for a better debut.
So what have you learned about him? From what I've seen, he's an aggressive guy on the ground, going after leg locks and.
You know, I don't say he has good jiu-jitsu. I say he has good heel hooks, because the kid, he's not like a Marcin Held or like a, you know, Husamar Polaris who transitions to different things. He just is hell-bent on that heel hook or leg lock, you know, and I think his skill set compared to mine is just light years, you know, on the other end of being great. So, you know, I think he's got a mouth that belongs in the circus. The kid can talk some serious shit. You know, he's been taking to Twitter and saying, you know, this and that. And he put up like an Instagram video, you know, talking smack about he can jump rope better than me, he can hit mitts better than me. He's going to demolish me, you know. And I just laugh because I'm like, we're still doing this smack talk, you know, now. And like, he was just so hyper aggressive at the beginning of the matchup that I'm, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know he's scared because I wouldn't want to fight me at home. You know, that's the thing. So.
And then it's his debut down at Bantamweight, so you got to figure if you saw his last fight, he looks like a muscly kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you figure that's going to wear on him. Moving down a weight class, the big trip from, I believe they said he trains in Thailand now, so it's a big, long trip.
He said, you know, I haven't seen him training at Phuket. Tracy Lee was out there, you know, and she just got done with Cub filming his stuff, so I don't think he was out there. I think he stayed at home for this camp, so I don't think he was at Tiger Muay Thai this time, but, you know, either way, coming from London, England, or Phuket, Thailand, it's not going to be a good trip, and you know, he's going to have a long, sad-ass trip home.
And then just getting to have the family there, what's that mean to you for this kind of... It's been a while since you fought in Arizona.
It's been 2011, right? I've been fighting in Canada for the last, you know,
two fights in here.
You know, it's been a while. So to the U of A football team just had their homecoming against Colorado, and I did a contest, did a giveaway contest for 3 autographed hats, and I see this as my homecoming. So, you know, for me to be fighting in Phoenix, Arizona one more time, my family, my, you know, 88-year-old grandfather and grandmother are going to be able to come out. That's something that I've always dreamed of having them see my UFC debut and me fighting on, you know, the biggest stage in the world. So it means a lot to me. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you have all that pressure. Absolutely not, man. This is the greatest energy and synergy I could have asked for. Everyone's going to be sending me those positive vibes, you know. It's just going to be great.
I look at your fight. I'm just excited to see where it's going to go, because we've seen you with the evolving of your striking and how great your boxings became. But then, again, you're sporting the wrestling coat right there. We know what your bread and butter is. And this is a guy who is going to want to play on his back anyway, so it could go a lot of different places.
You know, I've always wanted to be the guy. At the beginning of my career, I finished everyone by submission, and it was, hey, don't go to the ground with Birchak. Hey, don't go to the ground with Birchak. We're going to keep it standing. You know, and then it became, holy crap, he just knocked out 2 dudes in a row and finished a third by TKO. Let's not, you know, stand up with Birchak. Let's take him down. And I want it to be, let's just not sign on the dotted line with Birchak. It's a dangerous fight no matter where it goes, and that's the kind of threat I want to pose to people. And I want people really to think twice when they're like, yeah, I fight him.
Well, we've talked a lot about this upcoming fight, but let's take a couple steps back.
All right.
You're fighting in Canada for a long time. You were the cornerstone of the division, and you captured your first pro world title. So how'd that moment feel?
That was cool, man. You know, I know if you guys follow me closely, you guys know I had the death of my best friend, Freddie Lux. You know, and that came at a really hard time for me. You know, the birth of my son, they were all within the same week, so it was like I didn't know what to feel at the time, and to walk into a big title fight like that was pretty crazy. But you know, on the way to the arena to stomp the cage or the ring, I turned to left, and there was a steakhouse, and it said Lux in the biggest letters possible, and I was just like, all right, dude, let's go do this, you know. And we went in, and I had probably the most mature, flawless performance I've ever had in my career.
So, with all of that, the newborn son, everything you went through, everything that happened, what was that like 30 minutes after the fight when it finally, or a couple hours later when it hit you? Was that just overwhelming? Or
Absolutely. I mean, I cried my eyes out, you know what I mean? Because I was finally able to feel all those emotions that I had been, you know, putting on the back burner for that month. And it was just like, it just all came out at once, man, because Fred was there, you know, keeping me mentally stable, great training partner and brother for such a long time, you know, and finally, even a couple months after that, I was able to mourn and really appreciate the birth of my son and the death of my friend, and it was just, you know, it became all the more beautiful, man. It was like full circle.
That was in October of 2013, though. So now what's it been like for you, the frustration of not being able to get back to action?
Nah, it's not frustration. It's been long awaited, but at the same time, I haven't been sitting on the couch, let's just say that. So where you guys saw a very mature, composed Anthony Birchak in the MFC title fight, you're going to see much more evolved. Like you said earlier, you know, I evolved with every fight, and I've been out for a year. So what do you think you're going to see?
I don't like to, you know, make predictions like that, because you never know where somebody's going to grow at, but we've just seen exponentially it keeps happening. So with that, after parting ways with the MFC, was there any remorse that you never got to defend the title that you won in the division that you started, basically?
No, I mean, there was a couple of names, you know, like Jesse Brock. It would have been a great fight. Kevin Kroom would have been a great fight, you know, and I think both of those guys were great matchups for me. But at the same time, I think I had already done all I could do in that organization. Defending the belt was just an added, right, you know, so the title fight put me in Sports Illustrated, you know, Fight Magazine. It was awesome. You know what I mean? And I think I loved fighting on Access TV, and you know everything was great with that. I felt like I was meant to do more, and you know here I am, getting ready for my long-awaited UFC debut. So you know coming out to Jackson's has really lit that fire under my ass to really kick it off.
I was listening to an interview earlier from about 4 months ago that you did. It's on YouTube, and in that one, you said your MFC contract was about to expire. Now I've seen another article where it said there was visa issues that didn't allow you to get back to Canada.
So breaking up with the MFC was like breaking up with a really bad girlfriend because, you know, if you've heard Mark Pavlich talk, he's passionate about everything he does, and you know he was a great guy. It's just we just saw two different visions on what I was supposed to do at that time, and legitimately my contract was up July 10th. He knew I was at the UFC Fan Expo July 4th. He didn't contact me when I got injured from April 25th when I got injured to July 5th was when he contacted me. Didn't ask how I was doing, didn't see what was going on, didn't see what our solutions were for my injury, and it was just kind of like he forgot about me. So I thought that was pretty, you know, shitty on his part. And I felt like, you know what, hey, if that's the kind of appreciation I'm going to get for kicking off the division like I did with Ryan Benoit, you know, winning his Bantamweight, you know, title, and then, you know, kind of feeling a little underappreciated, I obviously had to go where the grass was green.
Right, and then finally nailing it in. I know that you had said there had been several opportunities, things hadn't worked out, reaching that next pinnacle, signing with the UFC. What was that moment like?
It was cool, man, because, you know, it's been a year, so I was like, man, I'm itching to get in there. I've been training. I've been, you know, bringing up these next wave of amateurs. We got a great team there at Rise Combat Sports, you know, but, you know, getting Chris ready for his UFC title fight and just kind of seeing everybody, you know, make moves, I was like, man, I want to do something. So when I finally got the call, you know, I took it in a heartbeat. I jumped on the scale after I got off the phone with Sean Shelby, and I was like, 158, cool, I got to make, you know, 35s in X amount of days. So I strapped on the running shoes, went and hit a run, and tried to bust off 5 pounds real quick. So, you know, it was cool, and as soon as, you know, I knew it was Joe Soto, I had a feeling it was going to be Joe Soto for a while, especially after he defended his Tachi Palace belt. And Mercedes was like, how do you do that? How do you know who it's going to be? I was like, I see who's got, you know, thunder behind him, and it was Joe Soto at the time, so I thought it was a great matchup. You know, I had my game plan watertight for Joe, and that's still a fight I want, you know, down the line. So
Took the words right out of my mouth. Was just thinking I'll ask you that.
You know, I mean, what pisses me off the most is he gets to fight TJ Dillashaw, loses, and gets moved to number 14. It's like, I mean, I would have gone in there and got my ass kicked if you're going to move me in top 14, you know what I mean? Jesus.
So then what was it like getting to sit there, go through the event, and see all that, and have a test run almost for everything?
I had their timing done in the first 2 rounds. You know, I had TJ. I saw what he was going to do with Joe. I saw what Joe was going to do with TJ. And, you know, TJ executed everything perfectly. And I was wondering when he was going to put that stamp on the round. And when he finished him with the head kick, I thought that should have happened 2 rounds ago. You know what I mean? So it was cool to see them both live, and the UFC treated me really well. They put me up right in front so I could watch it. You know, I got to talk to Dana, and you know, he said he felt bad that this was the first experience with the UFC, and I said, hey, just make it up to me and put me on at home. So here we are, December 13th. It's about to come true.
So then what's it been like for you? We've seen you're getting to the championship level. Everything keeps evolving and keeps raising, but then these last 2 camps, you've been with Chris Carriasso as he's training for a world title. Cub Swanson's in what looks like a de facto number 1 contender matchup, this elite level that you've been working with.
Yeah, I mean, it's just constant great momentum, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, Chris, we didn't have the outcome that we wanted, but still the world cash training that goes into a world title match is you know, you can't negate that. I mean, that's just something that you have to appreciate getting. So, you know, Chris was gone. He ended up leaving to San Francisco and getting back together with Darren Uyenoyama and his Muay Thai coach, Nuxiam Samprusi. And, you know, while he was with us, there was just so much energy in the team that we knew, you know, his gym being open such a short time and him fighting for a world title was like, everybody was on board, you know, and we were ready to rock. So, you know, with Cub, it's like, I think he should have had the title fight already, you know, so, you know what I mean? It's been, so to be able to really ride those back to back, I think it's just benefited me, you know, to no end. And like I said, December 13th, you're going to see a culmination of all these little tips and tricks that I've learned over the last year.
Well, we talked about a popularity contest with the UFC. It kind of helps you get ahead. How does it help you with you come in with the MFC Bantamweight title, and also in 2014 with you and Benoit, a Fight of the Year candidate that was a Fight of the Year candidate with a bunch of UFC fights, so it's recognition in a big way.
Yeah, you know, and that's one thing that they can say is me and Ryan Benoit put on Fight of the Year. That was cool. Another kid that just from Arizona just got signed, Roman El Gaito Salazar. We put on a great fight, and I finished him in the third round by a TKO. So that's 2 guys now that have signed to the UFC that I've beat. And I feel like maybe I'm a known unknown. You know what I mean? But at the same time, people will say, who the heck is this kid on December 13th? If you guys haven't seen me, if you guys aren't true MMA fans and follow all the Access TV shows, and you only follow UFC, I'm about to show you what's going down on, at US Airways Center.
And then, have you thought about what it's going to be like trying to keep the emotions in control fight week? Everything's going to be amped and crazy.
You know what? It's just, I've always had, I think, things like with Fred and my son, just these overly sensory overload experiences that have gotten me ready for something like this. That way the UFC jitters don't hit me, you know what I mean? And I truly believe that. I feel, my nervousness I feed off of that. So, I think it's something that GSP said, he goes into every fight nervous. And if you're not nervous, you're not going to be sharp and on point. So, I think the emotions are really I'm gonna thrive on them, and I think it's gonna be a positive thing for me.
One last thing from a couple interviews ago, did you ever link on and find a nickname that suits you to build the Birchak brand?
Yeah, man, El Toro. I think me and Mercedes, stopped on that. I think my style, coming forward, constantly aggressive, pressuring. I think it's like a bull. She says I'm stubborn too, so bullheaded as hell, and that's what we're building the brand on, is Anthony El Toro Birchak.
I can't wait to see you in action at home. Who did you need to shout out to? Who did you need to thank?
I got to shout out my sponsors, Oral IV, Mentum Eyewear, Contract Killer, Cauliflower Culture, and obviously Luta Elite, Mercedes White. She's the end-all be-all in my career, man. I really want to thank those people.
Anthony Birchak, thanks for the time. Great to see you in person.
Thank you, man.